YouTube and Happy New Year. So we're going to start the year off with another full respray on one of these Soul Red Crystal Mazdas. So I'll give you guys just a quick look over it to start off with, but all the prep work has been done. I've prep sold it all down. Obviously the masking's done. I've tack ragged it, and the next stage is to put a little bit of wet on wet primer down. So as you can see, the spray booth has been cleaned out for the new year. New roof filters have been put in, new floor filters have been put in. The walls have had the 3M dirt trap installed, and I've still decided to put a little bit of plastic over there just to stop the overspray and also maybe help keep those panels a little bit clean. But anyway, I'm going to get some wet on wet down and I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Rightio guys, back to it. So as you can see, I've got the wet on wet down. I gave it about 20 minutes to flash off. I'm not sure if you can see it on the video camera, but it's a very nice thin coat of wet on wet. So I did actually put a little bit extra reducer in to help stop any orange peel coming through from the wet on wet. I did slow it down a little bit, so the extra reducer I put in was slow reducer, and that's partly because it's a warm day today. So it's not stinking hot, but it is a little bit warm. Anyway, onto the base coat, and I thinned this base coat down at 20%. So as always, 20%. Oh sorry, PPG environment, yeah, and 20% water, because you thin the water base down with water. And I've actually found that once I thin this water down 20%, I actually don't need to spray it exactly the same as I used to. So what I've done is change the settings slightly. So basically all I do is I spray the first coat as if it was the second coat, if you know what I mean. So these are the same settings I used to use on my second coat of base coat, but I now use that on my first coat. So settings are full fan and half a turn in on the fluid and 20 psi. Careful not oh sorry, right. I'm being careful not to overload the edges. So I'm only going to do one coat of base coat on a lot of those edges, especially these kind of edges. Even all the front and back edges. You can see that that's pretty much covered after the first coat anyway. Also keeping in mind that we still have to put a few coats of the candy over as well. So the candy still does get a little bit of coverage. Looking at my guns when I was coming in to paint this job, and I thought, oh, should I try something different? And I'm like, nah, good old Pro Light, mate. Can't beat it. My base coat anyway. CE20 1.3 or
to have a nice clean spray booth, I tell you what. So yeah, I think this video here will just do the Basecoat stage, and then I'll do a separate video on the clear coat. We might, with a bit of luck, go back to daily videos again. I know lots of you were enjoying the daily Gunman raw vids, so yeah, we'll see how we go. But yeah, towards the end of last year, I did fall a little bit ill, and it wasn't COVID because I got tested. I am vaccinated anyway. And yeah, I wasn't in the right frame of mind or in the right state of my body and my throat. I couldn't talk properly, had a sore throat, so that's why I didn't do videos towards the end of last year. As I say, it's a bit of a humid day today, so it might take a little bit extra time between coats. You can see that it's really starting to dry here, but most of that barely even really done much drying. But it's alright, I'll wait until that dries down and I'll see you here for the second coat, guys. Rightio guys, back to it. So for the second coat, I've been pretty much same formula, is half a turn, but actually second coat I've been leaving the pressure at 20 psi. So 20 psi for the first and second coat, but I do wind the fluid in. Now these are, you don't have to follow these settings. I change them, and at the end of the day I've always said the settings are on the gun for a reason, so that you can set them if you think you need to. But I do think it's a good idea to, know where you're at, I guess, with your settings, so that you can have consistent and replicatable results. I think there's a perfect example here. So when I paint the parts off this car, I've got a bonnet, boot lid, the bumpers and all that stuff to paint off this car. I want them all to look the same as the rest of the car. So knowing exactly where your settings were at is definitely handy to do. I actually went over to Adelaide on my holiday, and I'll probably get a little bit further into that in another marketing video or something. But yeah, it was a little bit of a pity for me because I was planning on actually moving over there, but as it turned out, I don't think it's going to be the best fit for me and my family. So I've got a wife and a daughter, and we just decided that Melbourne's probably the better city for us at this point in our life. I mean, it's a big decision to make because my daughter's starting school soon, and one of my things has always been I don't want to pull her in and out of school, if you know what I mean. Like once she starts school, I want her to be able to stay there. So yeah, I had a lot of thinking to do. There was a good opportunity with a business there. A follower of mine, Sean, and a friend of mine also, he's got a workshop over there. He was going to let me just sort of do my own jobs there and slowly start up my own business next door. Because yeah, there's a factory next door to him that the lease is coming up soon, so it kind of would have worked out well as far as the business goes, but ultimately I don't think Adelaide is the right fit for me and my family. It's a great place, don't get me wrong, I'm not ragging on it, but my wife is Asian and she's not from Australia, and she doesn't drive, she doesn't have her license yet, so I just think one part of it is that the Melbourne public transport is a lot better than Adelaide, and yeah, that's a big part of it, man. It really is. And the city itself is a lot smaller than I expected. I don't know what I expected, to be honest, but or than what we expected. But yeah, so Melbourne's very metropolitan. It's massive. It's like a big city. It's like it's 4.5 or 5 million people by now, or maybe even bigger. I don't know. But either way, that's it for our second coat. I'm going to dry that down, and I'll see you here for the third and final coat of base coat. And we'll probably call that a bit, and then we'll do a separate one on the clear coat. Rightio guys, time for our last coat of base coat. So this time I will drop the pressure by around that 5 psi, and again still go in another half a turn on the fluid. Just holding the gun back a little bit. This is what they call a drop coat. But yeah, towards the end of last year, I wasn't even sure if I was going to be able to stay in this trade, because I was getting some serious burning in my nose, and I swear it was from all the solvents, or the thinners, or whatever you want to call it. And I mean, I'm just about certain that that's what it was from, because it went away after I went on holiday. I kind of knew it already, because it would get better at the end of the weekend, you know what I mean? So on a Friday it would get worse after a full week of working here, and yeah, so I did mention it in a video last year that I made a few health and safety changes to my routine. So from now on, I always wear my half-mask respirator when I'm prep solving, when I'm mixing up paint, even though I'm in a ventilated mixing room. So just, yeah, I'm doing my best to limit my exposure to the solvent. And it hasn't came back yet, but I'm at the point where, I mean, I used to do a little bit of training with one of my mates, and his rule was, he said, always listen to your body. And it was good advice, you know. So as they would say, like, if you're ever lifting weight and it hurts, like, don't continue on, man. Like, you've got to stop, you know. I guess it's the same thing with, you know, anything really. Like, your body, if your body's telling you, you know, this is bad, then you should probably stop. So that's kind of where I'm at. Like, if it comes back, I don't know, I'm probably not going to be able to stay in the trade, and I don't know what I would do. But at the end of the day, man, like, there's more to life than spray painting. There's a big world out there, so if that's what I have to do, well, that's what I'll have to do, you know. I was even thinking of starting up a little cleaning business. There's lots of work for cleaners, so I mean, there's 2 of us between me and my wife. You might be on half the amount of money as a spray painter, but when you double the amount of people doing the work, it evens out, you know what I mean? So I don't know, I'll keep you guys posted on that with the, you know, the health, but I guess I would like to hear from you guys, you know. Have you had some sort of a similar issue with your health? I've had one person say he got asthma from spray painting, but I would like to hear if you've had any sort of similar issues with the solvents, and, you know, have you had to give up or limit the amount of painting that you do, or was it enough to just, you know, wear the respirator a little bit more? But anyway, on that note, we're going to call that a video. Actually, I will wait till that dries down, and I'll give you a final flyby before I clear it. But apart from that, yeah, I'll see you in the next one.
So that's it for the base coat on this job here, guys. Laid down pretty nicely, not bad for the first job of the year. I haven't forgot how to do it by the looks of it. It's looking like it's going to come up nice and clean, this one. I I've got the clear mixed up. I'm about to put it into the gun, and I'll see you guys in that video tomorrow or in the next few days. Until next time, get out there and paint some shit. Oh, I forgot, yeah, go get some merch if you want. Gunman out.